Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem. Welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is CHAGGIGA Tezayin. We are holding 9 lines from the top of the Amud. Tanu Rabbanon, we learned in the Brayso, Shisha Dvarim Ne'emru B'Shedim. Shedim contain 6 elements. Shloisha Kamalachi Asharis. In 3 things they resemble Malachim. Ushloisha Kibnei Adam. In 3 things they resemble ordinary people. So a shade is a hybrid creature. On the one hand, he has a heavenly aspect like a malach. On the other hand, an earthly aspect like human beings. The Ramban says that Bnei Adam, human beings, are comprised of the 4 elements: fire, air, water, and earth. Shadim, on the other hand, are a little bit higher than us. They contain those 2 higher elements only, fire and air. So they're sort of in between humans and malachim. Shloisha k'malachi asharis. In 3 aspects, they resemble malachim. Yesh lehem knafayim k'malachi asharis. They contain wings like the malachim. V'tosin miseifa olam v'atzeifa k'malachi asharis. They fly from one end of the world to the other like malachim. V'yoydin ma'ashe'asad liyos k'malachi asharis. And they're aware of future events like malachim. Yoydin sakadaitach. They actually know what's going to be in the future. Only Hashem knows that. Elo shaymin ma'achorei pargid. They listen in, they could hear coming out, messages coming out from behind this mechitza. The pargid is a mechitza separating the shechina from the malachim. They can hear messages coming out from there. Kimalach asharis, just like malachim can hear those messages, and this way they're informed regarding future events. So 3 things like malachim. Ushloisha k'bnei Adam. In 3 elements, they resemble human beings. Oichlin v'shoishin k'bnei Adam. They eat and drink like us, although their food is a little bit more subtle in nature, but they do. They ingest moisture or some heat radiation, in which case they're similar to bnei Adam. Porin v'ravin k'bnei Adam. They have offspring like human beings. Umesim k'bnei Adam, and they have misa like bnei Adam. Interesting, the Ramban Chumash actually says that the shadim are to be found in those areas which are uninhabited. He says shade is melashon shadud, a desolate area. He says like in the north and south poles, the really cold areas where nobody lives, that's where the shadim are to be found. Interesting. So a shade is a sort of a combined malach human being creation. Continues the Brayso, Shisha Devarim Nemru B'Bnei Adam. When it comes to us, human beings, we also contain 6 elements. Shloisha K'malachi Asharis. In 3 things, we resemble malachim. We have that heavenly aspect to us. Shloisha K'behema. We also have 3 elements which makes us similar to the behema. We have an earthly aspect to us as well. Shloisha K'malachi Asharis. In 3 things, we are compared to malachim. Yesh lehem das k'malachi asharis. Humans have understanding like malachim. Umahalchin b'koyim eskufa k'malachi asharis. They walk upright instead of crawling. They walk upright like the malachim. Umasaprim b'lashon hakodesh k'malachi asharis. They speak lashon hakodesh, just like the malachim. Marsha explains, although not everybody speaks lashon hakodesh, the word just means to say, us human beings have the ability to speak, right? Ruach mimalula. And in that sense, we are compared to malachim, as opposed to animals who can't speak. And that's why the Gemara mentions Lashon HaKodesh, because actually the malachim can only speak Lashon HaKodesh. So the Gemara uses that as a comparison, as a means to compare us to malachim. We can speak. Shloisha k'behema. We have 3 animal aspects contained in us. Oichlin v'shoishin k'behema. Bnei Adam eat and drink like a behema. Well, the point is not to drink like a behemoth, but to take that earthly aspect within us and to elevate it, of course, to take the behamius within us and use it l'shem shemayim. By doing so, we elevate ourselves and spiritualize ourselves. But we have that potential behema potential within us. Uparin v'ravin ki behema, we have offspring like behema, umoitzin re'i ki behema, and bnei adam produce waste as well. The Mishnah says, "Kol mistakel b'daled dvarim." If one contemplates the following 4 topics, rasui lo shalei bala olam, it is better for him had he have been unborn. What are the 4 things? We'll go through the 4 things. Bishleim malamata. I understand what's wrong with investigating what's above the earth. Malamata, what's below the earth. What's above the world, what's below the world. Mala'achar, what's going to happen after the world is destroyed, after the world in its current form is no longer here. L'chai, I understand what's wrong with that. That's something beyond human grasp and can be misinterpreted and misunderstood. Ela lefanam, but to speak about what occurred prior to Brias Ha'olam, what's wrong with that? Madahavahava. It's bygone. It's irrelevant today. Why would that cause any harm? Answers the Gemara. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Lezer, the Amr Tavai, they both explained. Mashal lemelech basar b'dam. It's analogous to a human king. Sha'amar lavadav. He tells his servants, Benuli palterin gedoylin al ashpa. Can you please build me a large palace on that landfill over there, on the ashpa? Halchu ubanaloi. They built him up this beautiful palace. At this point, nobody recalls that it's situated on a former ashpa, which of course is not honorable to the king at all. So he wants them to forget about it. Ein ritzaynoi shel melech lahasker shem ashpa. He doesn't want anybody to recall that there's an ashpa there. Kaviyachal Hashem doesn't want us to relate to what happened before the Bria. The Mepharshim bring the Ramban Chumash. Initially, Hashem created a very subtle form of matter. He calls it Hayiyuli Hadak, from which the world developed. But that too is a creation. It wasn't there all along, Chas v'Shalom. Hashem created that as well. So speaking about the origins of the Bria can perhaps bring us to a misconception that those original elements of matter, those simple forms of matter, were always there, which of course is erroneous and firmly mistaken. But Hashem doesn't want us to get into that. So he doesn't want us to discuss malafanim as well. The Mishnah speaks about kol shaloi chosal kavod koinai, whoever doesn't pay attention. He doesn't regard Hashem with kavod. Rasuloi shaloi bala olam, prefer that he wasn't born. Mahi, what does it mean? Kol shaloi chosal kavod koinai. The Mepharshim say one's seichel, one's intellect is kavod Hashem. That's the neshama of Hashem within you. You're meant to use it properly, rather than abuse it and apply it to topics which are not meant to be discussed. Mahi, exactly what are we speaking about? Rab Abba Amar Zeh Mystical Bacchus. So according to this pshat the Gemara is speaking about, the Mishnah is speaking about very specific things. He's not according proper honor to Hashem. He's concentrating on the Cassius, on a rainbow, which is an expression of the Shekhinah. He shouldn't be mistakel. The Mepharshim say mistakel doesn't just mean a quick glimpse. That's okay. Of course, you have to take a glimpse at the Cassius to make that bracha. Mistakel means focusing, concentrating. That's not meant to be done. Rav Yosef Amar is a over aver b'seiser, one who disregards kavod Hashem by saying, "Look, I'm not going to do avera in public, but in private I'll do what I need to do." That's called lichos al kavod koine, because by doing so he is indicating that Hashem is not to be found all over. Says the Gemara, Mystical Bacchus. What's wrong with looking at the Cassius, at the rainbow? The chsiv k'marei Cassius. Asher yeh ba'anon b'yom hageshem kin marei hanoiga soviv hu marei dmus kavod Hashem. So the Cassius is an expression of kavod Hashem. Therefore, you shouldn't be focusing on it. Rav Yosef Amar, Za'aver aver b'seiser. So doing an avera quietly, in private, is negating kavod Hashem. Why? K'd Rav Yitzchak. The Amar Rav Yitzchak, La'aver aver b'seiser. If one proceeds to do an avera b'seiser, rather than in public, what he's saying is, In effect, he's pushing away the legs of the Shechina, which are really to be found everywhere. And according to him, this place is devoid of Shechina. Shenemar koyam Hashem, Hashemayim kisi. Va'aretz is the Hadoim Ragli. It's Hashem's Hadoim, that's where he rests his feet, Kaviyachal. Hashem is all over. So what difference does it make whether it's in public or private? Rashi says, Eimer Beliba, he's pretending that Eina Shechina Kan, there's no Shechina, and it's not true. Ksiv, Aretz Hadoim Ragli. So it seems from the Gemara, doing an Avera, B'Seiser is worse than Begoli, because it's indicating that Hashem is not present in private. Eini, is that so that an Avera B'Seiser is worse than Avera Begoli? Va'amar B'la Zakein, Imra Adam. She Yitzrim is Gaber Olav. If a person just feels, he just sees that it's a hara, is overwhelming him, he's going to succumb to the Yitzhara. What should he do? He should travel to a place where he's not known. This way, his self-worth, self-esteem drops, and he doesn't have that desire. Yitzhara will drop as well. Dress up in black, which again, perhaps will drop his mood, put him in a subdued state of mind, in which case, perhaps the Yitzhara will drop him. That's one pshat. Another pshat Rashi brings, that even if he does the Avera, Taisa says it's mash from the Gemara, that's exactly what's happening. He's actually going there with the intention to do the Avera. But at least minimize the damage. Do what you need to do. Avoid Chilul Hashem. Doing it in a place where you're known, doing it in public, carries a double violation, a double thing, a double wrong. He's doing an Aver also, defaming Hashem's name. Look what this person is doing. A Talmud Chacham, do it in private. At least minimize the damage, minimize the publicity. It's pretty clear. Avera b'Seiser is preferred to Avera b'Gali. Like Kasha, the answer is like this. Depends on the circumstance. Ha dematzi kayif leili yitzri. If a person has the ability to overcome the Yitzhara, basically it means to say he has the willpower. He's about to do it, but he says, look, I'm going to go in private and do what I need to do. This is the Chilul Hashem. This is loichas al kvoid koinim, because what difference does it make if it's in public or private? Ha delei matzi kayif leili yitzri. But if he knows he's going to succumb. Like Motzi Kaif, when Farshim say, it doesn't mean he can't overcome. Everybody could overcome. Everyone has Bechir or Becharta B'chaim. Just means to say practically, he knows he's just going to fall through. Okay, so you're holding at that point. At least minimize the effect. Minimize the damage. Don't do two things wrong. The Avera and Chilul Hashem. Why do you need the Chilul Hashem? If you want to do something, do it in private. So it depends on the attitude. If the point is, I wouldn't do it unless it's in private, that's disregarding Hashem's presence. Hashem's all over the place. But if he knows he's going to succumb and he chooses to do it privately, to avoid Chilul Hashem, that's preferred. Darash Rabbi Yehuda bar Nachmani. Rabbi Yehuda bar Nachmani was the Meturgemanai, he was the announcer, the translator, the Rish Lakish. He says like this, Kol HaMestakal B'Gimel Dvarim. Whoever concentrates on the following three things, Einav Kayis, his eyes get weak. Because these three things are expressions of Shechina. Number one, Bekeshes, the rainbow. Ubenasi, at the face of a Nasi, a supreme leader of Klal Yisrael, the king, or the Nasi in Bavel, because the Shechina rests on his face. So when it comes to these two things, the Mefarshim point out once again that a quick glimpse is okay. Take a look at the Keshes to make a bracha. Take a look at the tzaddik. Gemara in Erevin speaks about one of the Tanaim who says, look, because I saw Reb Meir's his back of his head, I got chachma. Of course, if I would have seen his face as well. So, glimpsing at a tzaddik is recommended, and a nasi as well. But when it comes to a nasi, supreme leader of Klal Yisrael, there's a special hashras hashchina, and be careful not to overdo it. Ubekayhanim. When the kayhanim are doing birchas kayhanim, there as well, one must not gaze at them. And here the Mefarshim say it means just gazing, a slight gaze is also a problem. We'll see in a minute why. Bekeshes, when it comes to a keshes, avoid the keshes. Echsiv kemari hakeshes asher yeh be'onon b'yoyim hageshem who married muskved Hashem. Like we said before, keshes represents Hashem. Benasi, what's wrong with the face of a nasi? Echsiv v'nosate mehoit chalav. Hashem instructs Moshe, apply your aura on your Yeshua. He's going to be the next nasi, the next leader. The hoid of Hashem rests on his face. And thirdly, a Mystical Bacchus, bizman shebeis hamikdash kayim. We speak about avoiding gazing at the Kohanim. We're speaking during the Beis Hamikdash. Shahayu eindim al dechana, they were standing on the stage, and Baruch Yisrael b'shem mefarish. When they included the Shem mefarish in their bracha, at that point the Shechina would rest on their fingers, and one is not meant to look at that. So the whole question regarding nowadays, does this apply? Does it not apply? So firstly, Tosfos brings the Gemara in Megillah that a kohen is not meant to have a mum on his fingers because that distracts the people of Mashiach Das. Instead of focusing on the bracha, they focus on the kohen's hands. That's one issue. What about looking at their hands? What about the concern about the Eina of chaos, about the Shechina? Tosfos Rosh says even Bizman Hazeh there is some slight Shechina presence on their hands as well. Therefore, one should avoid looking at them. Others disagree, but the Magen Avram, the Chavetz Chaim, and Mishnah Berurah brings it as well that even though there's no Shechina today on their hands, but there is a Zeicher. We still avoid looking at their hands. Zeicher l'migdash, Zeicher to the Shem HaMefarish, which brought about proper Hashras Shechina on their fingers with Zman HaMikdash. So that's the minute today. We look away, we cover our face with talis, etc., to avoid gazing at their hands during Birchas Kohen. Darash Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Nachmeni Meturgamani Derish Lakish. So another lesson from this same Adamar. My dichsiv. What does the pasuk mean? Al taminu bereya, al tiftechu bi aleph. So we darshan like this: don't trust the reya, don't believe in the aleph. In Yaimer Lecha Yetzirah Chatoy, the reya we turn into Ra. The Yetzirah, who's the epitome of Ra, comes and tells you, look, Chatoy, do what you need to do. Sin. V'Hakadosh Baruch Hu Moichel, Hashem is compassionate. He'll be Moichel. Don't worry. Our loving Father will take care of it. Al Tamin, don't believe him. Al Tamin be Ra. Who's the Ra? Ve'in Ra al Yetzirah. Shneimar ki Yetzer leva Adam. Ra. Don't believe. Don't listen to the Ra who's telling you that Hashem, the Aluf, will take care of you. Ve'in Aluf. Who's Aluf? Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Shneimar Aluf Nurayata. Don't trust him. Don't believe him. We know the Mishnah Yuma says, if one says Echta v'ashav, he's going to have a hard time doing teshuvah, because the concept of teshuvah is pretty much enabling his chet. So he abused the concept of teshuvah. It brought about chet. How could teshuvah come back and get him out of the chet? As the Mefarshim explain over there. So don't trust the Yetzer Hara. No, Shema Tamer, perhaps he'll say, me maybe. Who's going to testify that I'm doing things wrong? The answer is, the stones of his building, the beams of his house, they're going to testify. A stone will call out from the wall. And this half brick will call out from between the rows of wood. A person's own neshama will testify against him. From the neshama that lies in your lap, be careful about what you speak. What lies inside a person? The neshama will testify. Rav Zrika Amar, those two malachim that accompany us, they're watching us. Shnei malachi asharis, ha-melav and oisai, hey, me'idin by they will testify. Shnei ki malachi b'tzavlach, l'shmacha m'chol rechacham ma'imrim. A var of shaladam, one's own limbs, me'idin by will testify against him. Shnei va'atem, you are my witnesses, nu Hashem v'nikeh. Continues the Mishnah. We know that pretty much every carbon has smicha, where the owner leans on it. He says, this is vidui, in preparation for the akrov of the carbon. Sort of relates personally to his carbon, makes it his own personal representative to Hashem, so to speak. The Rabbanu Chumash says when a person leans and he makes the tshuva, he's thinking, well, this carbon is instead of me. He's my substitute, like kapara. It makes it very personal. The Gemara will tell us that you have to lean b'chol koicha, with all your might, totally leaning on the animal. Is sort of giving yourself over through the animal. In any case, what happens on Yom Tov? Is smicha to be done or not? Now, what would be wrong? What can be a problem? Because one is not meant to use an animal on Yom Tov. It is a d'Rabbanan, because it might lead to him pulling off a branch to lead the animal. So mishtamish b'balei chayim is a shvus d'Rabbanan. Okay, so what happens on Yom Tov? Big machlekes. In fact, Rashi says this Mishnah contains the very first machlekes that ever existed in Klal Yisrael. Tosfos brings the Gemara. We know that the concept of machlekes only came to be when things became unclear and things became forgotten. Up until this point, things were crystal clear. Everything was given by Hashem through Moshe. All the Torah Sheba'al Peh was known to all, but as the days progressed, the tzoros increased, times became more tumultuous, and Yidden started forgetting the Torah. And this was the first time there was some sort of question which was not resolved. A big machlekes raged throughout the days. Yes, smicha on Yom Tov, or no smicha on Yom Tov? What's the point of the machlekes? What's the basis for the machlekes? So actually, the Gemara in Beitza explains the shaila is whether we know there's smicha, but is it right next to? Does it have to be takev l'smicha shchita in close proximity to the shchita, or perhaps it can be done yesterday before Yom Tov, which wouldn't justify leaning on the animal on Yom Tov? That's the shaila. Can he do it yesterday or not? Some say yes, some say no. Yosi ben Yezer Omer shalai l'smach. You don't do smicha on Yom Tov. You bring a carbon, speaking of course about a private carbon, you don't do smicha. Shamei CHAGGIGA, Eilas Raya, you do not do smicha. Perhaps even a carbon tzibur, you don't do smicha. Yosef ben Yechon Omer l'smich. Typically on a carbon tzibur there's no smicha, right? Okay. So we're talking about a Shamei CHAGGIGA, Eilas Raya. According to Yosef ben Yezer, there's no smicha. Do it yesterday. Now you'll ask, what do you mean? Ein shavus b'mikdash. Famous kasha. Typically we don't apply Isura d'Rabbanan in the Mikdash. This is a big kasha. Many terutzim are given. Some say, well, if you need to. But here you could do it yesterday. It's not a blank check, blanket heter. Any shavus is mutar b'mikdash, only if it facilitates avodah. Well, in this case, do the smicha yesterday. Yosef ben Yechon Omer l'smich. According to Yosef ben Yechon, you do smicha on Yom Tov. Now, the Gemara will tell us that actually they were peers. So every two names represent a different dor. And one of the Chacham was the Av Bezin, and one was the Nasi. So these peers represented various dors. First dor that had the machlekes was Yosef ben Yezer, was Yosef ben Yechon. One was the Nasi, one was the Av Bezin. And then the next dor as well, there was a same machlekes between the Av Bezin and the Nasi. Yeshua ben Pracha Omer Shaloi L'smich. Nitai har Beli Omer L'smich. Yehuda ben Tabe Omer Shaloi L'smich. Shimon Meshatach Omer L'smich. Shmaya Omer L'smich. Avtalon Omer Shaloi L'smich. The next door we had Hillel and Menachem. One was the Nasi, Hillel was the Nasi, and Menachem was the Av Bezin. Lo nechleku. Between them there was no machlekes. Everybody agreed smicha is in place. But then Yatza Menachem. Menachem left his post. Nichnas Shammai took him over. He became the Av Bezin, and then the machlekes was generated between Shammai and Hillel. Shammai Omer Shaloi L'smich. Smicha is not justified. Do it Erev Yom Tov. Hillel Omer L'smich. Harishonim Hayunasim. So amongst these peers, the first name mentioned was the Nasi. Ushnim Lahem, and their sequel was the Av Bezin. Tanu Rabbanan. Shloisha Mizugas Harishonim She'amar Shaloi L'smich. So we have 5 pairs in total, right? So 3 amongst the first 3 pairs who say Shaloi L'smich, and Ushnaim Mizugas Achroinim She'amar L'smich, and 2 from the second 2 pairs, and the last 2 pairs, right, 4 and 5, who actually said Smicha, Hayu Nasim. All those were Nasim. Ushnim Lahem Avos Bezin Divrei, and the other ones were Avos Bezin. So we have 5 pairs. The Gemara is splitting them into 2 sections. In the first category, the first 3 pairs, the ones that said no smicha, were the Nasim. Second category, the last 2 pairs, the ones that say yes smicha, those are the Nasim. And their counterparts were the Avos Bezin. So basically, when it gets to, let's say, Yehuda ben Tabai and Shimon ben Shotach, so who's going to be the Nasi? Yehuda ben Tabai. Right? because he's the third pair, and he says Shaloi Lismeich, and the one that says Shaloi Lismeich, amongst the first three pairs, Adi Nasi. So according to Reb Meir, Yehuda ben Tabai Nasi, Shimon ben Shatach of Av Bezdin. You have to remember, this is very important. V'chacham Oimrim, the other way around. Yehuda ben Tabai is the Av Bezdin, Shimon ben Shatach is the Nasi. Says the Gemara. Now we're going to run into a problem. Man Tana, Lord the Tana Rabban, who's the author of the following price? Amr Yehuda ben Tabai. Erev ben Achama. He made a shvur. I should be zeicha to see the comforting of Yerushalayim, meaning the rebuilding of Yerushalayim. This, of course, was just a metaphor. He just the other way. He was saying, I should not be zeicha to see binyan Yerushalayim, Nechamas Tzion, im lo yarakti eizim, if I didn't do the following thing. Basically, I'm swearing, I'm promising I did the following thing. I killed an Eid Zayim. Right? The Eidim that came and plotted against an innocent individual. They come to Bezdin, we testify about this person, he killed somebody, or he stole, or he's Chayiv Misa, Chayiv Malkus, he has to pay up a law. And of course they're false Eidim. It turns out that others arrive and say, look, you too Eidim, how can you purport to testify about this incident that took place in this time, in this place? What do you mean? At that moment you were with us in a different area. So they made them Eidim Zayim. Zayim means to plot. They turned them into plotters. They uncover their plot. Halach is that an Eid Zayim gets punished with the same punishment that he tried to inflict onto this innocent person. V'asisam loy kasher zamam, you apply to the Eid Zayim just as he plotted. Lasas la'achiv, to apply to his brother, his poor brother, innocent brother. Says Yehuda ben Tabai, I personally killed, I applied the death penalty to an Eid Zayim, a single Eid Zayim, after his plot was discovered. I did it to disprove. What I did disproved it Stukim. Stukim were those people who negated our tradition, Teresh Val Peh. They had a different approach, a different opinion when it comes to Eid Zayim. Show you, they used to claim, Ein Eidim Zayim in Nehrogan. You never kill an Eid Zayim, unless the innocent victim, their victim was actually killed. Misa was applied to him, but if they catch them before the verdict was actually implemented, then the Eidim Zayim don't get einish. Rashi brings the pasuk nefesh b'nefesh, which means only if there was a nefesh loss, then we apply misa to them as well. But if they testified and Bezdin accepted a testimony and applied a verdict, but didn't actually carry out the verdict, then they get off scot-free. I disagree with them. Chacham disagreed with them. Pasuk says, "Kasher zamam lasas la'achiv." We applied to them what they had in mind to their brother. Apparently, the brother's still around. As long as the verdict was issued, even if it wasn't yet implemented, the halacha of Eidim Zayim applies. And therefore it says, Yehuda ben Tabai, I actually killed, I applied Misa to an Eid Zayim. As soon as the psak din, as soon as the verdict was issued, and psak din of Misa was applied to that innocent person, and then it was discovered these people are just fakers, they get Misa, even before that innocent person was killed. Okay? Amr lo Shimon ben Shatach. Shimon ben Shatach responds to Yehuda ben Tabai. It was a terrible mistake you made. Erev ben Nechama, I will see the Nechama, meaning I should not see Nechama. Im lo yishafachti dam naki. Im lo yishafachti dam naki. If you didn't kill an innocent person, basically he's saying you killed an innocent person. Why? One Eid Zayim? That doesn't work. It needs to be a pair of Eidim Zayim. Shari Amru Chachamim, didn't Chacham tell us? Ein Eidim Zayim Nehrogan. You only apply Misa to the Eidim Zayim. If they both turned out to be false, if they were both turned into Eidim Zayim, Achi Azumu Shneim. So Reuven and Shimon testified falsely against an innocent person. It turns out that one of these two Eidim were Eidim Zayim. So another pair of Eidim came along and says, well, you, Reuben, what are you doing here? How could you purport to have seen a story that took place in this place, in this time? You were with us. We were at a wedding that night. So only one aid became an aid Zaymim, but the other one, well, nobody was able to disprove him. This halacha doesn't apply. It's all or nothing. So how did you kill an aid Zaymim on his own? This applies to all types of hazama situations, whether it's a misa situation, or a malka situation, or a monetary issue. Ve'ein loikin, the edim zaymim don't get malchus, achi yazum shneim, unless they're both edim zaymim. So in a case where they attempted to apply malchus onto an innocent person, they don't get malchus unless they both became muzam. Ve'ein mishaman mam, same thing when it comes to paying money. Achi yazum shneim, until they're both zaymim. How could you do hazama only on one? So Yehuda ben Tabai felt terrible. Miyad kibulol of Yehuda ben Tabai accepted upon himself. From now on, he's never going to paskin a shayla unless it's in the presence of Shimon ben Shatach, until he gets his consent to ensure that he's not making a mistake. Kol yamav shel Yehuda ben Tabai, all throughout his lifetime, he would go and lie himself down on the grave of this person that he he killed. He felt terrible. He begged him for forgiveness. They would hear his voice. Everybody thought Shekola Shel Haragu. It's the sound of the Harag who's sort of lamenting his fate. He tells him, no, it's me. I'm speaking. I'm crying. Teidu, I'll prove it to you. After a while, when I die, it's going to stop. There's no more sound. Apparently, it's me. That's not a proof. Perhaps it's the victim crying, but as soon as Yehuda ben Tabai passes away, he goes to Shemaim, he can appease his victim, and that's why he stops. Or conversely, the victim called him to a din Torah in Shemaim, that's why he stopped. Okay, so that's the price. Let's analyze the price. Mani, who's the author of this price? Rabbi said that Shimon ben Shatach was the Av Bezdin, and the Rabban said that Shimon ben Shatach was the Nasi. So Maniha, who's the author of this price? It works according to Rab Meir. The Amar Shimon ben Shatach Av Bezdin. He was the Av Bezdin. Therefore, we could explain what happened. Because if Shimon ben Shatach was the Av Bezdin, then his counterpart, Rabbi Yehuda ben Tabai, was a Nasi, right? It goes hand in hand. Right? Every pair in the Mishnah had an Av Bezdin and a Nasi. So if Yehuda ben Tabai was a Nasi, that explains that explains how he could rule in front of Shimon ben Shatach, because he stands higher than him. Eli Amras Rabbanan. But if this is in line with Rabbanan, the Amri Yehuda ben Tabai Av Bezdin, he was the Av Bezdin, and Shimon ben Shatach was the Nasi. How could Yehuda ben Tabai issue halachas in front of the Nasi? Av Bezdin b'fnei Nasi mi'mayra halacha. How can that happen? Right? He said, from now on, I'm going to pass only in front of you. You can't do that. You're not allowed to yimayra hara in front of a Nasi. Says the Gemara. Look, that's not what he meant. My kibbutz, when he said, I'm accepting upon myself to only do it in front of you, my kibbutz of the Ka'amar, let's tarufe. He meant to say with others. It's tarufe. I'm not even going to join a bezdin unless it's in front of you. Well, as Cassius learns, I'm not going to get involved in the din Torah which opposes your position. So certainly it could work with Shimon ben Shatach being the Nasi, because he was never trying to rule independently from Shimon ben Shatach, that he couldn't do. But to join a bezdin, that he can do, but even then he would be careful to do it only in front of him, and that's the way Cassius learns, the other Mepharshim learn. What he meant to say is, from now on I'm going to do it in front of you, I'm going to do it with your consent. That's what he meant. Yotze Menachem b'nichnas Shammai. So Menachem left the post, no longer the Av Bezdin, and he was replaced by Shammai. Lechan Yotze, where did he go? By Omar, Yotze Tabas Ra. He strayed off the path. He joined the Baisusim, the ones who opposed Torah Sheba'al Peh. Rav Amar Yotze Lavetis HaMelech, he was taken into the king's service. Tani Nami Hachi, Yotze Menachem Lavetis HaMelech, he was taken into the royal service, into Hurdas HaMelech's service. And with him went Shmoinim Zugas Talmidim, 80 pairs, 80 chavrusis, 80 pairs of Talmidim, Levushim Sirikan, dressed in these royal garbs. They all went along with him. Amar Rav Shambar Ab Amar B'Yechanan. From our Gemara we learn an interesting, profound lesson. Lo'olam al tei shvus kala beinach. One should never take a shvus, Issa de Rabbanon, lightly. Why? Look what's going on. Sharish smicha. Eina ela mishum shvus. At most, the smicha issue here is only the Rabbanon. Everybody was involved in it. The greatest of the great were involved in this machlekes, involving just a Rabbanon. Pshita. Of course it's important. Why would I think otherwise? It's a Mishnah and Beitza. You have to be careful. Refrain from shvusim. Shvus mitzvah tzrichle. Oh, here's a chiddush. It's a shvus, but it involves a mitzvah. Smicha, after all, is a mitzvah. Still, don't take it lightly. Hanami pshita. That's obvious. The Mishnah and Beitza, the Chav speaks about. Lamed Vav and Beitza speaks about shvusim that are mitzvahs. That's still asur. And says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda was come to tell us pshat in the Mishnah. What's the background to the machlekes? Yes, smicha, no smicha. Lafuki man de omar besmicha gufa pliki. You see, there was another approach to this machlekes. A fundamental shaila of whether or not there is a din of smicha when it comes to the shlamim that one brings on Yom Tov. There's an alternate approach to the whole sugya. It's based on a fundamental question: is there smicha or no smicha? Skip Yom Tov or Shabbos. Is there smicha on this type of carbon? And those who say you do smicha because they hold smicha is required. Those who disagree because smicha is not required. Period. Kamash Malon comes Rabbi Yehuda and tells us, no, that's not the point of discussion. B'shvusu de pligi. Everybody agrees smicha is required. It's Yom Tov, that's the issue. Can we do smicha on Yom Tov? Smicha is required. But is it allowed on Yom Tov? Or do we say, no, it's a shvus, don't do it? Says Rabbi Yehuda, don't take shvus lightly. Because that's the point of machlokes. Amma Rami Bar Chamash Mamina, we learn from here how to do smicha. Smicha b'chol koicha b'inam. When you lean, full force, full weight. Because that's not needed. A slight leaning is okay. Micah Ovid, what's he doing? Lismech, let him lean on Yom Tov. Apparently, the proper way is to lean entirely on the animal. Meisvei, is that true? Gneska Kash. Dabar b'nei Yisrael v'samach. We learn from this pasuk that only b'nei Yisrael is samach, only men do smicha. B'nei Yisrael is samach, women don't do smicha. Rabbi Yisrael b'shmol Imrim, they don't have to, but if they choose to do it, they can. B'nei Yisrael samchas rishus, like any other mitzvah that they do. Tesis brings here they can do other mitzvahs, shayfar, lulav. They don't need to do these things, but if they want, they can do it. In fact, Tesis brings that they make a bracha. Amar b'yesi, I'll prove my point that Nashim have the allowance to do it. Sachli Abelazar tells me as follows: Pamachas ve'ilon egel shel zivchei shlam. We once had this calf, which was a shlam. The venula as a nashim. So although it belonged to the men, not to the women, but we brought it to the as a nashim and the Beis Hamikdash, and we got the women involved. V'samchu olav nashim. The women did smicha. Leim neshe smicha ben nashim, not because they needed to do it. It wasn't even theirs. Look, last is nachas ruach l'nashim. We want to make them happy. Get them to feel involved in the avodas hakarban. So although it was really the man's karban, it didn't even belong to them. There's no point in making smicha, but we wanted to give them the impression like they're involved because typically they do smicha on their karbanis. Therefore, they felt happy being involved and doing their smicha on this karban as well. So what's the raya? The raya from here is that apparently nashim are accustomed to doing smicha on their karbanis. Therefore, allowing them to do it here as well made them happy. So it's alright that Nashim can choose to do smicha. Okay, so that's the bris. Now, getting back to our discussion, how to do smicha. B'chol koichai or not b'chol koichai. V'yisakadaytech smicha b'chol koichai b'inon. If smicha has to be done fully leaning on the animal, which is really, keep in mind, really that's a problem. Typically we don't lean on karbanis. It's called avoida b'kachim. You're using a carbon, you're not allowed to, unless it's a mitzvah, unless it's smicha. But when it comes to nashim, in this case, they weren't doing a mitzvah. It was just nachas ruach. How does that justify leaning on the carbon? If smicha is done by leaning completely on the carbon, Mishum nachas ruach, the noshim, avdina, avodah b'kachim, to pacify the women. We're going to allow them to do avoid on a curb. This is a clear right. You don't have to lean on the animal. Just slight lean is enough. That's a kasha on the shita that dictated otherwise. No, certainly you have to lean all the way. How did they allow the nashim to do it? It told them just slightly cover the animal with your hands. Akfa is like floating. Put your hands on top of the animal. Don't lean on the animal. They didn't do avoid the b'kachim. If that's the case, that's all they allowed them. Then why did the Brisa say we gave it to the nashim for smicha? Not because they needed to do smicha, just to give them nachas ruach. He should have said better. They weren't even doing the smicha. Instead of saying those words, typically he should have said the enol smicha klal. They weren't actually doing smicha at all. It was just a pretend. Yeah, that's what he says. Chadavait kamar. He's saying two things. Number one, chada the lesser smicha klal. You should know they didn't even do real smicha, just a fake. Void, in addition, because they last us rachas ruach. No point was to pacify the women and make them happy. Amra papa. Shema mina. From this whole sugi, we learn an interesting thing. Tzadin asur. The Chacham disallowed use of an animal on Shabbos or Yontif for concern that you might rip off a branch, etc. This issue applies even to the tzadin, even if one leans on the side of the animal, which is not the conventional way of enjoying and riding on an animal. It's also a problem. Why? How do I know this? From our sugya. The because if leaning on the side is mutter, what's the problem with smicha? What's the whole sugya about? Yes, smicha, no smicha. Let's tzadin. Do smicha on the side of the head, which is never asa to begin with. This proves that even stadin are included in the Yisr. Rav Ashi Amar, no. I feel the with stadin mutar. Typically leaning on the side of the animal is okay. That's a non-conventional use, and it's mutar. Why can't you do smicha in that manner? Because wherever you lean on the head, the top, the side, called the bahadi gava, whatever is on the same level as the back of the animal, which pretty much includes the entire head. Kigaba dum is like the back, meaning we don't differentiate between this part and that part, but it's on the level. On the back level, then it's included in the Isra, even if it's on the side of the head. Rashi says the Rosh is Shavet Begoyvel Gava Beima, the entire head is really on the same level as the back. So, even on the side of the head would be a problem, for the fact that it's mutter and it's a chiyuv to do it on Yom Tov. Let's do a quick chazar to the stuff. We learned about these 6 elements found in the Shedim, half man, half malach. 6 elements found within us, half malachim, half animals. We learned about keeping within our realm of understanding, not reaching beyond our grasp, malamala, malamata, etc. We learned about taking care not to gaze too strongly at the Shechina, at the Keshes, the Kaihanim, and the third one was the Nasi. Right? We learned about preserving the covenant of Hashem, not pretending that Hashem is not around in private. We went on to the machlekes found in the Mishnah, which was the first machlekes in Klal Yisrael regarding smicha, yes or no. We learned that smicha is b'chol koichai, and it's an issue of mishtamish b'balachayim on Yom Tov. So that's the question whether smicha is required or not, and that's the shaila that the sugya revolves around. Basically, is smicha something that leads into shchita and has to be done in close proximity, or could it be done yesterday, in which case it doesn't justify using an animal on Yom Tov. And even the side of the head, we said, is considered a proper use of the animal, which would be problematic after the fact that smicha is a requirement on Yom Tov. And we learned about the whole story with Yehuda ben Tabai, who brought about the death of a Zaymim, unjustified death. Interesting, Taisi has a kasha. He says, the Gemara says, even a behem of a tzaddik will not eat something, will not have a takala. Certainly a tzaddik wouldn't have a takala. How could it be that he came to such a terrible mistake? So he says that only applies to midi da'achila. When it comes to consuming food, that's a gnai, to really ingest something which is isser. But otherwise, we do find, unfortunately, that tzaddikim can stumble here and there. And as we see in our Gemara, and he went and he worked on the tshuva throughout his entire lifetime, and he was makabel, kabbalas, ala asid. That's why to do tshuva, even in such a difficult chet, charata, tefillah, kabbalah, asid, and he moved on. Okay, that's the sugi. All the best to you, and hatzlacha rabba.